Coventry's 3-1 win over Charlton last time out saw them reach 50 goals for a season in 18 games. It's the fastest a second-tier side has scored 50-plus in a campaign since Sheffield Wednesday back in 58-59. Wrexham! Wrexham are winning at Preston by a goal to nil. But Abby Summers, he's Marmite, he blows hot and cold, but even Richarlison couldn't miss from there.
I couldn't miss from there. It was a lovely ball in. I actually think that was maybe is a Xavi Simons assist. You know? I think that might.
Sorry, that's playing the £50 million playmaker you've signed, and he gets an assist. Who would have thought these weird things?
Crazy. It was. Do you know what? We have actually been quite positive this game. It's been that is our first shot on target though. However. That is a lovely ball.
It's a long ball forward. Pedro Porro sets Xavi Simons, who makes a really, really good run.
Yeah, watch his
down the right-hand side. Well. He plays a really good ball across the face of goal. And Richarlison, like all good centre-forwards should do, is in the right place at the right time. But how good is it there, Abby, to see Xavi Simons playing and Xavi Simons gets this? And what's so important now, he needs a regular run of starts.
100%. And I just was watching him celebrate because obviously they were a bit different sides. They kind of went in different directions. And you could just see actually what that meant to Xavi Simons. It just felt like a little bit of a relief for him as well that he'd managed to actually do that. Because apart from the Copenhagen game, we have really not seen him do anything at all in the Premier League. And he's had a lot of criticism. And I still think it's fair, some of it, especially the performance against Chelsea, who was diabolical. But... you know, this is the type of performance that I need to see. Even though that was the first shot on target, it has taken 26 minutes. That is progress.
And you'd have to say that if he doesn't... Spurs are in here, Abby! Oh, Spurs score!
Oh, is that Simons?
And guess who it is? It's Xavi Simons!
Unbelievable.
That's a really good goal.
It's a really... What a day!
So let's just... And you know what? Look how happy he looks. And I'm really happy he gets this moment. Xavi Simons starts. Xavi Simons gets an assist. And now he has a goal. Who would have thought it in a Spurs team that are lacking creativity, lacking goals, lacking ideas? You start a playmaker in his preferred position. He gets an assist. He gets the goal. And you know what, Abby? He takes his goal really well. And look at that. He's got a big, big smile on his face. You can see how much that means to him. But he makes a really, really good challenge in midfield. He wins the ball back in his own half. He carries the ball. He carries the ball, and then he finishes. Abby, what a moment that is.
That is the Xavi Simons that Tottenham bought. That is the Xavi Simons that they wanted to see. It's really good from him because he has been criticised so much for the lack of physicality. But again, he kind of gets out-muscled on the ball. He wants it back. He's hungry for it. And I think as well, he probably wants to prove a point. Like, this is a player that, again, came with really high expectations, has had the opportunity to kind of make that role. There's no one else challenging for a 10 role for Spurs at the minute. Everyone's injured. And he just hasn't managed to find that form. So he has received a lot of criticism and he probably thinks, I want to prove people wrong, and that's really good. He's done so well to drive, not only just get the ball back, but then drive it the whole length of the pitch and then finish it off. That is sending a clear signal to Thomas Frank, you don't drop me anymore.
I do not want to take anything away from him, and we won't do that. One thing I would just say, I cannot believe that at no point as he was running...
No one has actually closed
did a Brentford player attempt to tackle him.
Brentford haven't been good today.
They probably should have done.
Brentford are poor, to be fair.
Brentford have been really, really poor. But Zach, have you been... I'm not even a Spurs fan, and I found Thomas Frank's lack of use of him, if that is even a phrase, really surprising this season of you, especially with Kulusevski and Maddison injured.
He's had a few poor games, but like I think, as Abby mentioned earlier, like Spurs just don't get the ball to him. You know, when the midfield is Paulinho.
That's on Thomas Frank as a head coach to get the best out of your number 10 that you spend a lot of money on,
for sure. I think, but then you need, the system needs to find a way to get the ball to him. Even there, no one passing the ball. He has to go and win it in midfield and then carry it halfway across the pitch. I mean, it's really, really good. That's what he was so good in the Bundesliga, and picking up the ball deep and carrying it forward. I think he shows good physicality there. I think sometimes people think physicality is just like winning a header or winning a shoulder barge. Physicality is also driving with the ball and shoving off the defenders behind you, having enough pace to keep it going. And he does really, really well there. It's a lovely, lovely finish. I think you're right. I think Brentford have been a little bit poor as well. I think Thomas, if there's one manager that's going to know how to nullify Brentford, it's probably going to be Thomas Frank.
Yeah.
But Spurs are doing a really good job of it.
And sometimes, Abby, with these new players that come abroad, it sometimes takes, different players, different sort of lengths of time to settle into the league. But you might just need a goal, a moment, an assist, or maybe a good game, and then things might settle down. Now, I hope from his point of view, he should get a regular run of starts now for Spurs, and we could see the best from Xavi Simons.
100%. You just need to allow people time to settle. Look, I am critical, and I have called him out for it, and it is my job. So
and rightfully so.
Rightfully so, because the performances have not been up to scratch. And you want someone to be able to give you those moments. I'm not saying he has to be unbelievable every single week, but I needed to see more from him, and I think that's what's frustrated Spurs fans so much, that it's like, you're not doing, that would have been lovely.
He's playing with confidence now.
He is. And I think that's probably another thing. Like, it does take time when you get players that come and adapt. We've been so critical of people like Florian Wirtz. We've been critical of even Isak, who's only moved from the northeast. Like, it does take time to settle into a new team. And I think generally when you're in a team that probably is a bit more pragmatic, which a Thomas Frank style is, he loves to play with that double pivot. It is not exactly the most free-flowing, sexy style of football.
You can play with the double pivot. And
of course you can, of course you can. But we just haven't been doing
selections.
that.
You can play with double pivot. Play Archie Gray.
Play Archie, which he has done today. Play a Bergvall. Play a Sarr. Play someone that's got that ability to move.
It's the Paulinho Bentancur double pivot.
I really like Paulinho, but I think you can't afford to play Bentancur and Paulinho. We only need to play one of them. We don't need to be so pragmatic. Allow him the freedom to move, you know?
I think him at the start of the season when he said that quote about, like, you know, to not take risks is a risk in itself, was a really good quote to say about how, we're going to try and play attacking football. And then so far this season, we've not seen
It's like, all right then, Thomas, when are you going to start doing it?
Exactly.
Like, cool. Let me know when you're going to start. Yeah, it's good because I think that Spurs in general have just needed that. Like, even the result.
You need a win, don't you, as well?
Desperately at home. I mean, look, who knows? Like I said to you, I want to be proved wrong. Have I sat here and said that I don't think he's probably the right man for the job? Yes, I have. But do I also want to be desperately proved wrong and him turn it around? I remember with Pochettino, it wasn't all roses, especially early on in his kind of tenure, and he completely turned it around. And I would like Thomas Frank to do that. Whether or not he can, that's another story. But wins at home, I'm just happy that this is looking like we'll get 3 points.
Is that Mickey van der Ven? Abby, that was almost just vintage Mickey van der Ven, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he was obviously rested as well in the week. Oh, do you know what? Spurs have just not. I've not seen Tottenham play like this all season. So maybe it is a Brentford. Maybe it is like Brentford tax. I don't know. But I mean, it's just been.
Whatever, though, it gives you confidence.
It really does. It's the first time I've actually seen Tottenham be able to defend and create in the same game.
Such a good tackle.
Really good. Really,
all got
really
played into Thiago, and every time a defender goes down to the ground in the box, you almost sort of
especially backwards. A backwards tackle as well is even harder.
Yeah, Abby, what's been different about this performance then today?
I just think that we just look a lot more on the front foot. We just look a lot more positive in the way that we're playing, more direct. I think we actually look a lot hungrier, like less lethargic. It's kind of looks like to me they want to prove a point. And I don't know whether or not that's because they're at home in front of the home fans. And obviously the last time we played there, obviously there was Pedro Porro was upset and Vicario was getting booed, by the Spurs fans. So maybe it's a point that the team want to make to the home crowd, to get behind them. Yeah. My argument would be you have to give something for fans to get behind, because there has been absolutely nothing to cheer about this season. But this performance has been really good, really positive, and it looks like a performance where they're a bit inspired, which I feel like a lot of the time under Thomas Frank they haven't looked like that. There hasn't been the movement off the ball. There hasn't been the energy and the drive to go forward when they do break. There hasn't even been an out ball at times, to be honest. And there's been no one to link up play whatsoever. But today that's completely different. And I'll give Thomas Frank the credit because he's obviously selected the team. And it's a good performance. And this is hopefully a turning point for Spurs. I don't expect Tottenham to win every single week. No, I just don't.
That feels unlikely.
It's unlikely, But what I do expect is to see you put up much better numbers than we have been seeing in terms of chances created, in terms of, just looking at the balls into the box, duels, all of it. I've seen terrible performances against Chelsea, against Arsenal, a pretty lacklustre one.
Chance here for Xavi Simons. The goalkeeper was off his line.
Very similar chance against Fulham there.
Even the performance against Newcastle wasn't good. I'd have bit your hand off for the draw for it, and arguably that was never even a penalty anyway. You should have won the game. But I need to see more in the performance, and that is what will endear Thomas Frank to the fans. That is what people can get behind when it comes to the team, because at the minute there's such a massive divide between everyone, and you can see that in the way that players are responding and coming out online and saying things that they're not happy with Vicario being booed, which I understand. The whole team could have been booed. They shouldn't have just singled out one particular player, the fans. But you just need something to get behind, and maybe today's the day that we see that.